Welcome back to Transcended Institute. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about functions in general, but specifically we are going to cover completing square method, which is the quadratic function, and also how to sketch the quadratic functions. From there, we'll go further and also talk about discriminant, and we'll also explore on how to find the alpha and beta. Yeah, so let's begin our discussion with the first question, which is saying complete the square method or complete the square of the following expression. Okay, so we're trying to complete the square method. The quadratic function is in the form of f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So the most important thing is that we should know that the question that we have here, the first one, is the same as f of x is equal to x squared plus 4s or plus 4x, then c is 0. So the first thing is you factor out a. In this case, a is 1. So factor out 1. So then here remain with x squared plus 4. Here we'll say 1 divided by 4. So 4 divided by 1 is 4x. Then here still I'll remain with 0. Like that. Okay. Then the next step is you bring this the way it is. Then now you rewrite this 4x. But the next thing is you find the half of the number that has got what? X. In this case is 4. So half of 4 is what? 2. So I'll say, I'll put in the brackets, I square it, minus the same thing that I've done, then plus 0. Okay. So then I'll keep on bringing 1. So what I'm going to do now is we ignore the guy having x. Then I'll say open bracket x plus this one 2. Now since this is squared, we just put square here. Then minus 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Now I multiply everything by 1, it will be 1x plus 2 squared minus 4. So using completing square method, I have now expressed this. So this is the answer. Okay. So now it's not something that is complicated, guys. It's something that is very simple. You just follow these simple steps. Let me go to part B. So part B is saying it's the same as f of x is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 0. Factor out 1. So the a is 1 in this case. This one still becomes like that, then plus 0. So then what I'll do is x squared minus 6x, half of negative 6. I'll follow this sign. So it's negative 6. Half of negative 6, I'll say plus negative 3. I'll put it in the bracket. What I've done here, do minus, write the same thing, square it, plus 0. Okay, don't forget about that. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we have to ignore this, and I'll say x, then I'll get this the way this sign is in the brackets, minus 3 squared, then minus negative 3 squared is 9, plus 0 is the same as I just leave it. 1 is not going to affect anything. It's the same as I say x minus 3 raised to the power 2 minus 9. So that's the completing square method. So allow me to do part 3. Okay, so part 3 is in a form of f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 16x, okay, plus 0. Factor out 2. What I'm going to remain with, 2 divided by 2x is just x squared. Then 2 into 16 is 8x. 2 into 0 is just 0. Remember the next step, we get half of 8, which is going to be plus, now it's positive 8, positive 4 squared, minus the same thing, then plus 0. Okay, so 2, you ignore the part having x, you say x plus 4. Since they are both squared, square it, minus 4 squared is 16. 0 is not going to affect anything. Now from here you have to distribute 2. So 2 with this guy, it will just be 2 open brackets x plus 4 squared minus 2 into 16, or 2 times 16 is 32. So that is my answer. It's very simple, right? Yeah, it's something that is not complicated, guys. Okay, so this is my answer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave part 5 for you. I'll go ahead and do part 4. Part 5, I'll just give you a hint. It is the same as negative 2x plus 8x plus 0. Now go ahead and do that. So you factor out negative 2. Okay, let me do it for you. You factor out negative 2. So if you factor out negative 2, here you remain with x squared. Then 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4x. Then there, negative 0. Just leave it. 0 is not going to affect anything. I'll leave it like that. Negative 2. Then this one, what we're going to do is we'll say x squared minus 4x. Half of negative 4, it is I'll say plus is negative 2 squared. Again, I'll do minus the same negative 2 squared. I put this. So negative 2, here remember, you ignore this and you have x minus 2 squared minus negative 4. Negative 2 squared is 4. So you open the brackets. Now it will be like this. Plus, because negative 2 times negative 4 is plus 8. And that becomes my final answer. Okay, yeah, that becomes my final answer. So the last one now is this one. Let's see. So I'm going to factor out 2 as well. I'll remain with x squared minus 5 divided by 2 is 5 over 2x. So plus 0. So 0 you can just leave it. 2 x squared minus 5 over 2x. Now half of this, so you do just times this times half, which is going to be 5 over 4. So here it will be plus, because it's negative, so it's going to be negative. So I'll say negative 5 over 4. I need to square it, minus again the same thing, I square it. So this now is going to give me x, because there's negative here, it will be minus 5 over 4 squared, minus this is going to be 5 times 5, it is 25. 4 times 4, it is 16. I hope that is making sense. From this point now you can distribute. Let's not forget to put the bracket. We can now distribute the what? The 2. So it will be 2 open bracket x minus 5 over 4 squared minus, so 2 times 25, or I would just say it's more like you have got 2 25 over 16. So 2 there 1, 2 there 8. So you end up having 25 over 8. And that's the answer. I wanted to leave one question for you to answer, but I thought of just solving all the questions. I hope you guys are enjoying. Yeah, so that is it for question 1. So if we go to question 2, you clearly see that question 2 is basically the same as the question 1. Okay, we are just expressing, remember, we are talking about this thing. Maybe we have got, maybe like the last question for question 1, we found it was this minus 25 over 4 over 8. So you are expressing now this in a form of a x plus h plus k, where h is this, then k is that. So it's the same thing. We are just using the completing square method. Yeah, so it's not something that should give you problems. So you still use completing square method. Okay, so so now for this one, I'm not going to do all of it. I'm going to choose the question that I'm going to do. I'm going to do this one, then I'll go also and do this one. Then I want you guys to go ahead and do part 2 and part 3, and I'll be waiting for the answers in the comment section. Send me the answers in the comment section and I'll check the answers which you are going to find. So let's start, because the reason why I'm going to solve only 2, because this is basically the same as the question we were from solving, question 1. So let's now start. You say first factor a, which is 2, so you remain with this. 2 into 8 is 4x. 1 divided by 2 is 1 over 2, like that. Now from here, what we're going to do is 2x squared plus 4x. Now you do half of 4, which is 2. You square it, minus the same thing, again you square it, then plus 1 over 2, like that. From this next step, ignore for the part having x. So 4, it will be x plus 2 squared minus 2 squared is 4 plus half. Now we are trying to add what negative 4 plus 1 over 2 is. The common denominator is 2. So 1 there will have 2 times that is negative 8, plus here we'll have 1, so it's negative 7 over 2. Another simple term is just to say negative 4 times 2 divided by 2 plus half. The denominators are the same, then that is negative 8 plus that is negative 7 over 2. So we'll go ahead and say x plus 2 squared minus 7 over 2, like that. When you do this now, you can distribute 2, so it will be 2x plus 2 squared minus 2 times 7, 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So I've expressed this in a form of that. That's what they want. Is it complicated? No. Does it make sense? Yes, it does. Can we solve the second part, which is part 2? Yes, you can. Yeah, so if you can, please try to solve it and send me the answer in the comment section, and I'll be waiting for your answers. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to do part 2. I'll go and do part B. You go and do this. So let me do this. Factor out 2, so it will be x squared. I'm doing the last one, minus, so now it's 1 over 4, negative 1 over 4. You divide it, or you do, I'll rewrite this. You divide it by what? You divide it by 2. So it's the same as negative 1 over 4 divided by 2, which is again the same as 1 over 4 times 1 over 2, which is negative 1 over 8. So you have 1 over 8x plus, now half of 1 over 8 is the same as 1 over negative 1 over 8 times half. This is the half of 1 over 8. So you end up having 1 over 2 times 8 is 16. So you have negative 1 over 16, but square it, minus again the same thing, and then square it. The last number, although I have done this before, this should be the second step. So first I have to divide 2 into 2, that is going to give me 1. The next step, that's when now I'll do the thing for the half. So it will be this 1 over 8x plus, now half of this we have said is negative 1 over 16 squared, minus the same thing, then plus what? Plus 1, like that. I hope that is making sense. Okay, then the next thing that I have to do is now to do, what else am I supposed to do? Is now to just do this. I'll ignore this, and I'll have x minus 1 over 16. So this will be like this. I square it, minus 1 times 1 is 1, then 16 times 16. Isn't it supposed to be 250 something? It should be 256, but not sure. but yeah, it should be 256. So 16 times 16, or 16 times raised to the power 2, yeah, it's 256. So I'll have 256 plus 1. Now it's more like I'm adding 1 over 256 plus 1, then divided by 1. The common denominator 256. 256 into 256 is 1. 1 times that is negative 1 plus. This one now will give me 256. And the answer will be 255 divided by 256. So we'll have 2x minus 1 over 16. Then this has to be squared minus, or is now plus, 255 divided by 256. Now I can open the bracket. Not so. Now opening the bracket, now there is a deal here. So 2 open bracket x minus 1 over 16 squared plus. So this one is going to be 255 divided by 256. So 2 there, 1, 2 into there, that should be 128. So now I have 255 divided by 128. I've expressed this in a form of this. So go ahead and do part 2 and part 3. I'm waiting for the answers in the comment section. Okay, so that is it for part 2. Let's jump into part 3. It's basically the same concept. They are saying, given that this expression is equal to that, find the values of constant h and k. So it's the same thing. Let's factor out a, which is 1. So I factor out 1, I'll have x squared plus 3x plus 6. 1 is not going to affect anything, that's why I've just written everything direct. So x squared, the half of 3, that's the next step. It will be 3 over 2 squared minus 3 over 2 squared plus 6. Like that. What will be the next step now? So the next step now will be ignoring this part having x. I'll have this. So I square it, minus 3 times 3, 9, 2 squared 4 plus 6. Like that. But of course we know that 1 is not going to affect anything, 1 which is here. So now we have 9 over 4 plus 6 over 1. The common denominator is 4. So we'll have 4 there, 1. So it will be negative 9, 24. So that should be 16, not so. Negative 9 plus 24, not 16. Should be 15. So it will be 15 over 4. So 1 x plus 3 over 2 squared plus 15 over 4. Let's now distribute 1. So it's the same as just having x plus 3 over 2 squared, because 1 is not going to affect anything, then 15 over 4. From here, just compare. H is this one, k is this one. So therefore h is equal to 3 over 2 and k is equal to 15 over 4. As simple as this. It's not something that is complicated, guys. Grab the simple concept. Let's go. If you find such kind of a question, don't hesitate, just follow this method that I've used here and try to find the value of k and h. Yeah, so that is it for question 3 as well. So let's now jump into question 4, which we are required to now sketch the still quadratic function. Write each of the following function in the form of f of x is equal to x plus h squared plus k. Hence sketch each of the following, indicating the turning point and the point where the function cut the coordinate axis. It's the same concept that we have been doing so far. Yeah, it's basically the same concept that we have been doing. And of course, if we look back, aren't these questions same as the question I was solving? I know it's not the same. Okay, cool. So the first one, still we are doing completing square method for us to reach at this point. So the first one, we first factor out a, and that remains the same. The next thing is to find half of -6, which is -3. We square it, -3 again, we square it, plus 8, like that. The next step, we ignore this and write x minus 3 squared. I'm just following this sign, forget about this. So minus -that, it will give me that, and of course that is going to be x minus 3 squared minus 1. So to write it in the form of that, it is now 1, but forget about 1 because 1 is not going to affect anything, but you can put if you want, but it's not going to affect anything. We have expressed it. After expressing it in form of that, the next thing that we have to do is to find the turning point. Turning point, we have got x comma y. How do we find the x? To find the x, get what is in the brackets. X minus 3 is equal to 0, equate to 0. So for x is equal to 3. So the x value is 3. Y value is this number. So the y value is 1. That is my turning point. I'm done with it to indicate the turning point. So it's 3, -1. That's the turning point. After doing that, identify if the graph is going to have the maximum or minimum. If a is less than 0, the graph is going to have maximum. It's going to open up like that, or let me say open down. Then when a is greater than 0, you have minimum. The graph will open like that, upward, then this one downward, like that. So now a, in this case it was 1, so 1 is greater than 0. The graph has to curve what? Downward, like that. So before I even sketch my graph, I should be able to know where it's going to be. After doing this, find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, equate x equal to 0. So I'll say 0 squared minus 6 times 0 plus 8. So y is equal to 8. That is my y-intercept. In short, y-intercept is the number that doesn't have x, in simple terms. Now, to find the x-intercept, what we normally do is, I'm going to show you a very simple method. The things that you have here, that is 1, x minus 3 squared minus 1 equal to 0. So we are going to solve now for x. So what I'll do is, I'll say x minus 3 squared is equal to 1. I've shifted this one to go to the other side. I'll divide everywhere by 1, even here by 1. So now I've remained with this is equal to 1. So then at this point, I'm going to do square root here, even here square root. Once I do that, put plus or minus here. Then now the 2 and the square root will cancel. Have x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1, which is 1. Okay, so x minus 3 is going to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 is 1. Then x is equal to shift 3. Now 3 will be here, plus or minus 1. So x will be equal to 3 plus 1, or x will be equal to 3 minus 1. So then x is equal to 4, or x is equal to 2. So these are the x values I have found. If this thing is factorizable, you know how to use that factorizing method, where we say product is 8, the sum is -6. What will be the factors? So the factors will be -1, it will be -4 and -2. This means that x minus 4 and x minus 2 is equal to 0. Then x is equal to 4 and x is equal to 2. You know this method, which is the same as the answers I've found here. Okay, after finding this, now I can go ahead and sketch, and I know that my graph, since a is greater than 0, my graph will be like will open up like that. So let's see. It will show me Okay, so the first thing is my turning point, my x values, they are all here. So I have 2 and 4, and the turning point is at 3 comma -1. I'll put -1 here. So the graph has to touch this point, has to cross that, and the turning point is here. But in y it has to cross at 8. Again it will cross there. So it tells me that the graph will come and touch like that. Touches there, it reaches here, it curves like that. That's the graph. And we said the graph has to be like that because a is greater than 0. So this is the graph of f of x is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 8. Let me teach you something in advance here. In case you come across any question, the same question, what if they put modulus? I don't want you to come and tell me to say, no, you didn't teach us on how to find this how to sketch this when there's a modulus. When there's a modulus, it simply means that anything that is on the negative side reflected to the positive side, meaning that -1 is going to be +1. Put it here, and it's going to come out like that, meaning your point you are looking for is that. So then you leave this one, the original one, in dotted form if at all there is a modulus. So if there's a modulus, you leave it like that. Again, what if there is a modulus and then there is a negative outside? It means that everything that is to the positive side reflected to the what? Negative side. So this now is not supposed to be there. It tells me that what is to the positive side, bring it what? So that is going to be now -8, and that will come there and cross here. It will come there. Leave this in dotted form if at all there is modulus and there is negative outside. But for this, now this is the graph for the questions we are doing right now. I believe you cannot fail to do the rest, but I'm going to do 2 more and I'm going to leave 3 for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and do part which other one which look complicated I should do for you. Let me go to okay, let's go to part 2. Is fine. So we are factoring out 2, and then x squared, so it will be 7 divided by 2. I'm dividing it by 2, then minus 15 over 2, like that. Okay, the next step is x squared plus 7 over 2x plus half of 7 over 2. 7 over 2 times half is 7 over 4. 7 over 4 squared minus 7 over 4 squared minus 15 over 2, like that. The next thing, ignore the part having x, so it will be 2. Now x plus 7 over 4 squared minus 7 times 7 is 49. 4 times 4 is 16 minus 15 over 2. When I do that, what comes next is now to simplify what -49 over 16 minus 15 over 2 is. The common denominator is 16. 16 into 16 is 1. 1 times -49, 49 minus 2 there is 8. 8 times 15. Okay, so 8 times 15, it should be 120. So I'll put 120 here. So what is 120 plus, same as plus 49? Okay, plus 49, that should be 169 divided by 16. So what I have now is 2x plus 7 over 4 squared minus, so it will be minus 169 divided by 16. Okay, so what do we do now? The next thing that we have to do is what? So the next thing that we have to do is now distribute 2. So it will be 2 open brackets, then x, okay, x plus 7 over 4 squared minus, so it will be 2 times that, so it's the same as 2 into 2 1, 2 into 16 8, not so. Okay, this was negative. Yeah, let's not complicate things. It still comes out negative. So we said 8, so now we are doing 8 times. Okay, let me just check the question. So what I've done, ideally what I've done there is okay, cool. So now we have found the value, which is 169, not so, yeah, 169. So we have 169. Okay, so I've divided that and I have found that that is 169 over, this one has given me what? It has actually given me 8. Okay, but if we have to be very much careful for these questions. You have to be very much careful, because if at all you have made any mistake, then there is a problem. So what have we done? We have actually gotten negative 49 over 16. Okay, negative 49 over 15, then minus 5 over 2. That's what we have done actually. Okay, then the other thing that we have done is 60, this is 16, right? 16 there, 1 time that, okay, 2 there is 8, then 8 times 15, we are saying it is 120. Okay, 15 times 8 is 120. So 120 plus 49, that is now 169, which is here. Okay, cool. 169. So we have, now what if we distribute, yes, I've already distributed 2. So now I've expressed that in a form of this. For the first part, I'm done. Now I need to find the turning point. Okay, so I need to find the turning point. So what will be my turning point? Let's see. So remember, we say that for us to find the turning point, we need to have x. So x is the same as, it will be negative 7 over 4, negative 7 over 4, comma, negative 169 over 8, like that. I hope that makes sense. Now when I do this, the next thing is these are my turning point. Okay, the next thing that I have to do is to find the y-intercept. Y-intercept is a number that doesn't have x, so y is going to be negative 15. The next thing, let's find now the x values. Okay, so expressing that in a form of this is this one. Now we find the x values. Remember what I said. So you get this the way it is: 2x plus 7 over 4 squared minus 169 divided by 8 equal to 0. So after equating equal to 0, shift this to go to the other side. So it will be 2x plus 7 over 4 squared is equal to 169 divided by 8. Then I have to divide it by 2, even here by 2. So I have x plus 7 over 4 raised to the power 2 is equal to 169 divided by, this now is going to be 169 divided by 8 times 1 over 2, which is 16 here down. Now to get rid of these 2, square root both sides. Once I do this, this becomes plus or minus. X, this 2 and that will cancel, so I have x plus 7 over 4 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 169. It should be 13. The square root of 16 is 4. So what I have now is I'll shift now this to the other side. X will be equal to 7 over 4 plus or minus 13 over 4. So the x values that I expect to have is 7 over 4 plus 13 over 4, or x is equal to 7 over 4 minus 13 over 4. If the denominators are the same, what would we do with the numerator? So it will be 20 over 4, which is basically 5. Here it will be x is equal to negative. So if you do 7 minus 13, it should be negative what? Negative 6 over 4. So which x will be equal to 2 there, 3, 2 there, 2. Again, if you don't want this method, you can use factorizing method if at all it works. Again, you can also use the quadratic equation method, the Bass method, the common known as Bass method. So x is equal to 5 and x should be equal to negative 3 over 2. So what do we do? Now, you can actually look at the product sum, same as what I did there. It's the same thing. But what if you're having issues with that? Okay, that's why now I've done this. Now, the next thing that we have to do is actually identify, knowing if the graph is going to go like that or like that, going to have minimum or maximum. What is a? A is greater than 0. The graph will curve like that. Now I can have my sketch. Okay, I can have my sketching like that. Why am I doing this? Because I know that y is to the negative side and the turning point are also to the negative side. So x, I have you know that we have got negative 3 over, but the first positive part is 5, then the turning point. Now if you look at 169 divided by 8, you realize that it's going to be greater than 15. So I'll write it here, negative 169 divided by 8, then negative 15, I'll put it here. What else? I have got which number? Ideally, we should know that always this one is going to be, this is going to be 1 point what? Okay, let's see. Are those correct non-cons, the x values that we have found? So let's see the x values that we have found. Are they going to be correct? We have actually said the x value is negative 3 over 2. Then this is 4 over that. So which number is going to be greater between the two of those numbers? We can clearly say that negative 7 over 4, it is 1 point something. But ideally, this number has to be less than this one. So if I look at this, I can clearly see that there is a mistake that I've made somewhere, which I don't know. Okay, so maybe it's on how to find the x values. Now let's go back a bit. We found that okay, we found that this is question 4. We found that the x, after we did the square root, it was 13 over the square root of 16 is 4. So now what we had is negative 7 over 4. Okay, so it was negative. After it went there, it was now positive. Are we sure about this? No. So the mistake which is there now is here. Let me just go back a bit. Let me take you back a bit. So the mistake that we have made, that's why it's very important for me. I've already known the reason why I've made a mistake. So we do this. So this was plus. So here is the mistake now. This was plus. If it goes this side, it's going to be minus. So meaning that these values are wrong. What does it mean? It means that x is equal to negative 7 over 4 plus 13 over 4, or negative 7 over 4 minus 13 over 4. Yes, now it's making sense. So this is going to give me 5 over 4. You have seen, right? Because it's negative 7 plus 13. So it will give me, or 6, sorry. So it will be 6 over 4. And x will be equal to 3 over 2. Now this is perfect. Here, it will give me negative 20. Negative 20 over 4, which is going to be x being equal to negative 5. Now it's making sense. So now I can get rid of this and now have my sketch. So it's good for you to know that there is a mistake here, like you have seen what I've done. I've identified that there is a mistake, because always this number, so these ones I'm supposed to get rid of it, this number has to be greater, the one for negative has to be greater than the turning point here for x. So you can clearly see that I'll have negative 5, and that number is negative 1 point something. It will be here. The turning point in y, we have negative 15, which I can put it here, and this number is also always greater than the turning point. So if you punch that, you realize that it's greater than negative 15. Because if I've got 64, it's going to be 8. Yeah, so it's going to be greater than that. So negative 169 divided by 8 is here. Then the positive number is 3 over 2. So the next thing is, we know that the graph has to touch there, touching there, and we have already identified our graph because a is greater than 0. The graph has to go like that. So it has to touch there, then again come and rest here. That's the turning point. So the graph comes here, it rests there, turns there, goes like that. Even if it's not correct, like straight graph, but it's fine. That's the graph of what? That. Okay. So it's very important for you to know, actually, to know how the graph is going to be, and also to know the technique that is going to be there. Okay. So that is it for this one. Now let me solve for the last one, and I want you guys to go and solve the remaining 3 which are going to remain here. So when you solve it, find the x values. When you just find the x values, then I'll be able to know how the graph is going to be. And you tell me if a is greater than 0, how the graph is going to be. Is it going to have minimum or maximum? That's what I'm interested in. So I'll go ahead and do part 3. Rearrange that. It is negative 2x squared minus 7x plus 4. Factor out negative 2 x squared. So negative and negative will be now plus 7 over 2x. Again there it will be minus 2, negative 2 into positive 4. That's why I have said minus 2. Like that. Okay. What's the next thing now? So the next thing is now the next step, remember, half of this is going to be, I'll write first the way it is, so plus half of that is 7 over 4 squared minus again 7 over 4 squared minus 2. Next, negative this x plus 7 over 2, or 7 over 4. I square it minus, this is going to be 49 divided by 16 minus 2. The next thing that I'm going to do is to first simplify this. The common denominator is 16. So 16 there, I'll have 1, so it will be still negative 49 minus, that is going to be 32. So it's now negative 32 minus 49. that is negative 81 over 16. So we have negative 2x plus that minus 81 over 16. Distribute 2, negative 2x minus, or x plus this squared plus 81 divided by 2 into 2, 1, 2 there, 8. So we have now this. So I've expressed that in a form of that. What's the next step? I find the turning point. So what will be the turning point? Turning point, remember that x plus 7 over 4 is equal to 0. So x will be equal to negative 7 over 4. So negative 7 over 4, comma, this one you get the way it is. So it is positive 81 over 8. Y is a number that doesn't have x, so it's 4. Now to find the x values, if you want, you can use the product. That's all right. The product is negative 2 times that is 8. Then sum negative 7. Factors negative 8 and 1. Not so. Negative 8 and 1, because negative 8 times 1, so it will give me that, yes. So then I can clearly see that I'll have negative 2x minus 7. So we ignore the 1 for 7 if I'm using the product and sum. So it will be negative 8x plus x plus 4 is equal to 0. Factor out negative 2x, so have x plus 4. Here factor out 1, you have x plus 4 equals 0. So you have negative 2x plus 1 and x plus 4 equals 0. Get rid of this. So you have negative 2x plus 1 equals 0 and x plus 4 equals 0. So you have negative 2x is equal to negative 1. Divide both sides by negative 2, x will be equal to 1 over 2. Another one, x will be equal to negative 4. These are the x values. X is equal to 1 over 2 and x is equal to negative 4. After having this, now you can sketch the graph. Let's identify first A. A is less than 0 because A is this negative 2. The graph will have maximum. After doing that, knowing the behavior of the graph, now you can come up with that. So I have to shift this one, can come here. Now the x values, I have got negative 4, and we know that negative 4 is less than that, so that one will be here. Then another one is 1 over 2. Then the turning point is at 81 over 8. We know that 81 over 8 is greater than 4. 4 will be here. Like we said, the graph will have maximum. So then it has to touch there, touching here, and the rest here. So the graph comes here, resting there, touching there, going here. That's the graph of f of x is equal to that. As simple as that. If there's a modulus, remember what I said, don't forget. So then I want you guys to go ahead and do these remaining ones, because it's the same thing. Do this. And of course this one is going to be simple because it's the same as this. So it's the same as this. Let me also mention something in case this one can give you a problem. Let me first mention something. It's actually the same as f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 0x plus 4. Okay, let me solve for this one, then you do these remaining two. So if I factor out 2, I'll remain with x squared. 0 still will be 0x. Then here it will be 2 into 4 is 2. So still I'll say x plus 0x. Now half of 0 is still 0. then I'll still have 0. I'll put minus here though, then plus 2. In short, 0 is not going to affect anything. You end up having this. You end up having just x plus 0 now squared. 0 doesn't, it's not going to affect anything. So one thing I want you to know, then here 0 is not going to affect anything. So we end up having like that, squared then plus 2. You have seen, right? Then you remember, you know that the turning point will now be 0. This will still be 0 comma 2. No. Now this one is going to be, when we are trying to open the brackets, it will be like this. Now I open the bracket, that will be 4. So still it will go back to the original one. So the turning point now, it is 0 comma 4. Y-intercept is at 4. Now let's find the value of x. What do we do for us to find the value of x? Where is it going to turn? Okay, so the x-intercept, for me to find the x-intercept, what are we going to do? So do we have the product? So the product is 4 or is 8. The sum is 0. What will be the factors? I think negative 4 and positive 4. No, if I put positive 4, it's going to give me, no, not this one. So I can use now the wrong division method, or what I can do is, when I reach at this point, 2x squared, equate that one will be equal to that, divided by 2 divided by 2. X squared will be equal to negative 2. You can't square a number and get a negative. What comes in your mind now is that it has got no x-intercept. It's not going to cross x-intercept. So if it's not going to cross x-intercept, how is the graph going to be? Okay, how is the graph going to be? So the graph, the way it's going to come out, it should not touch the x-intercept. And we know that x is 0, then the turning point there is 4, and also at y is equal to 4. So y is equal to 4 and x is equal to 4 at that point. But a, remember, what is our a? A is greater than what? Is greater than 0. If a is greater than 0, the graph has to come like that. That's what we said? Yes, the graph has to, it's going to come like that. So our graph in this case, it will be like that. It's not supposed to touch x-axis. So that's going to be my graph. Initially, okay, let me not confuse you, but that's the graph of this question. So go ahead and do this and that. I believe you're going to do it. Okay, so actually question 4 is, it was just asking us to, it was just saying, hence sketch the graph or each of the following. Now this one, they have just made a mistake. This question is exactly as the second one. Now this one, they are saying sketch question 5, which is the same as the things we are from doing. It's the same question, so we're just trying to sketch, and I've already sketched this, so I'm not going to waste time to do this. The sketching that I've given you here is as exact as what I'm supposed to do here, but on that here they're not asking about the turning point. But for you to sketch, you need first to find, you need first to come up with this. In short, this question is the same as this question, on that they've just said sketch, but you can't run away from doing what I was doing here. So it's the same question, same concept, same question, and same figures. So the sketch that I've given you here is the same as what I was supposed to come up with. So now I'll go to question 6. So question 6 is saying, that is question 6, yes. Question 6 is saying, find the values of k. Okay, find the values of k for which the equation that has one real solution. Now let me first teach you about what we call discriminant. if I have got this equation, which you know, the thing that are in the square root is what we call the discriminant. It's the thing that is going to help us to know the behavior of the root. This is the discriminant. So now in this case, I'm interested in that. If at all this thing in the discriminant here, which is b squared minus 4ac, is less than 0, just know that I'm going to have complex roots. There will be no real roots, or I'll have complex. I'll have complex. What I mean is I'm going to have complex roots. I'm going to have imaginary. For example, if this thing is less than, let's say, the square root of -4, which is going to give me 2i, this is an imaginary. So if at all this thing is equal to 0, I'll have only one root, one real root. If at all this, for example, let's say the square root of this is 0, it's just 0. So the number that I'm going to have here before this, it will be the same, it will just be 1. So if at all this thing is greater than 0, I'll have two distinct, they are going to be different real roots. So this is what we use now under discriminant. Now this question is saying find the values of k for which this equation has one real solution. One real solution meaning is this. So I need to equate the discriminant equal to 0. Now you have seen even question 7 is saying we need to find that for which has got two real solution. I'll come and use this. Then this one has got two distinct real solutions, still I'll use this one. So let's now go ahead and do those questions. Okay, so let's see. The first one is I would say this. Now I equate this equal to 0 because it has got one real root. So what is my b? We know that this is a, this is b. So a is 2, b is p, and c is 1. So b is p. So it will be squared for a is 2, c is 1, equal to 0. It will be this squared is equal to, or is going to be plus, sorry, minus. This 2 is going to give me 8, equal to 0. P will be equal to 8. P squared will be equal to 8. And I want to find the value of p. Not so. Okay. I want to find the value of p. So now I can get the square root. Once I do this, remember to put plus or minus. So p value will be equal to plus or minus the square root of 8. But again, the square root of 8 can be written as square root of 4 times square root of 2. So p will be equal to plus or minus 2 root 2. So p can be positive or negative, plus or minus 2. So that is it for question 6. Now let's go to question 7. Has two real roots. Two real roots. What did I say? If we're talking about real roots, then we're talking about greater than. Okay, so then I'll do the same. The discriminant b squared minus 4ac greater than 0. So this is a, this is b, this is c. B is 6 squared minus 4, a is 1, c is k, greater than 0. 6 squared is 36. This is going to give me 4k greater than 0. Shift this to go to the other side, so it will be negative 4k greater than negative 36. Divide both sides by negative 4, negative 4. K will be, so if you divide by negative, this changes, it will be now less than. So 36 divided by 4, that is 9. So it is 9. Now the question is find the values. Okay, so k has to be less than 4. So find the values. It's just basically k less than 9. Other can say k will be from negative infinity to 9. Okay, so now you only do this when they say find the set of possible values. That's when now you put it in interval, but in this case k is less than 9. That's all. Okay, again I'll use the same thing because it's talking about distinct real values. I'll use the same thing. So this is a is 1 in this case, b is negative k, that's c. So that is going to be negative 4k. Now we square it, minus 4. A is 1, c is 4, greater than 0. So that is going to be 16 k squared minus, this is going to give me 4 times 4 is also 16, greater than 0. I can divide everywhere by 16, so that I have k squared minus 1 greater than 0. You know, when you have got x squared minus 1 is the same as x minus 1 and x plus 1. It's a difference of 2 squares. So this is the same as k is like that. So then k is greater than 1, or k is less than what? Negative 1, or is greater than negative 1. So k, if you shift this to go to the other side, it will be greater than negative 1. But this is now contradicting. Now I want to mention something. If at all you have got answers which has got more than 2 values, let me make you clear there. If this is an inequality, if you find that the values are more than 1, so in this case k is greater than 1 and also k is equal to negative 1, you use a table. So this is now an inequality because I'm trying to find the set of values. So negative 1 and 1, here I'll put 0, number greater than 1, and here. So then if I shift this now, I'll get these the way they are, k minus 1 and k plus 1. Here I have to put both of them. If I put negative 2 here, it will be negative. If I put negative here, negative overall, positive. If I put negative 0 here, it will be negative. Here, positive overall, negative 2 there, positive, positive. I'm dealing with the overall thing that is greater than the positive part on it. So the set of values, they want me to put these in set interval notation. So the k, the set values of k is from negative infinity all the way to negative 1, not included union, because I'm only starting from here going this side and also starting from here going that side, from 1 all the way to positive infinity. So this is the set of values of k. Okay, so that is it for question 6, 7 and 8.